Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Costa versus Vettori. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Jonathan Martinez versus Ziviad Lazishvili. And I see this fight right here is I definitely think Jonathan Martinez is the more, I'm not gonna say more round fight, I think he's just the more tested fighter, I guess. I would say he is the more well-rounded fighter, but I think Ziviad Lazishvili has that X factor, and I think that's the wrestling. Martinez might not be no big slouch in the wrestling department, but the pace and the level that Lazishvili is going to put on him is going to be a hard test for him, and I think he's going to fail that test. I still think it's going to be a competitive fight, probably a close fight, but I think Lazishvili's takedowns, his control time, maybe a couple power shots in there, it's going to freeze Martinez up, so he's going to be respecting the power of Lazishvili and respecting the pace of Lazishvili, respecting the wrestling of Lazishvili. And so he's not going to be able to get up going like he wants to get going. He might have his moments, but he'll never be consistently able to get going, I feel, in this one. And then I feel like ultimately the judge is going to lean to the takedowns and control time and probably the work on top from Lazishvili in a close decision. So in this fight, I have Ziviad Lazishvili via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, Livinha Souza versus Randa Markos. And how I see this fight right here is I'm going with Livinha Souza, to be honest. Randa Markos really only got one punch on the feet, and she goes for takedowns. And she's going in with a high-level black belt in BJJ. So Randa Markos really working in this fight to maybe catch her with some big shot and maybe take advantage and tap her out, or maybe finish her with a TKO, which is very slim to none. Markos has not really proven to be a consistent finisher. She's more so a grinder. That's what she is. And she's going in, like I said, with a better grappler, submission grappler. Markos will probably be the better wrestler, but I don't feel like the edge is that great. And I feel like Souza has a more fleshed out striking, so I feel like Souza should win the striking battle. And when Markos tries to take it to the ground, I feel like Souza should be able to attempt submissions, get sweeps, and maybe even tap Markos out. But I feel like in the case of Souza landing the cleaner, flusher shots, landing more shots, and not making it easy for Markos on the ground, probably getting the advantage of her on the ground as well after attempting submissions, maybe using that to get, to get a reversal or get a sweep, or using to get back to her feet. I see it's a close fight, but I feel like Souza will have the edge wherever the fight goes, is what I'm saying. So in this fight, I have Livinha Souza via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division, Jeff Molina versus Daniel Lacerda. And how I see this fight between these two is I think Lacerda is bringing a pretty good skill set. I think he's gonna be in there real composed. I feel like he has the flash side of this fight. I'm not saying like speed. I'm just talking about like he's flashy. Like he has some spinning heel kicks at like punching distance or clinching range. So he'll throw those from some very close distances. Like he'll do a lot of flashy stuff. Not saying that he's all flash and no substance, but I definitely think Molina is far more substance than flash. Real good, clean boxing, good eye, good counters, sharp shots. I feel like his punches are much sharper, and I feel like that'll be the difference. And when you got two fighters, relatively around a similar level, you're gonna favor the guy with more substance over flash. More substance than flash. I feel like Molina has more substance than flash. And think he'll be able to land the cleaner, shorter shots. His cleaner, shorter shots, more textbook shots will beat the flashier shots of Lacerda. Lacerda might have his moments, might come close with some shots, but you can expect textbooks and consistency to be more consistent than flash. You might get those moments, you might be banking on that home run, or you might be land one of those shots, maybe two of those shots, but those clean little digs to the body, little clean little short check hooks, those jabs, that's the stuff that's going to, it's going to take you far. That flash stuff might get you one or two wins, or might get you that one or two moments or whatnot. But the substance is going to consistently pay off in the fights. I think that's going to be the case with this one. I think Molina's experience inside the UFC, even though he's still very fresh facing the UFC, versus Lacerda, who hasn't really fought to this level at all. I feel like that experience level, the substance versus the flash is going to all favor Molina. And I feel like Molina is going to get a decision in this one. So in this fight, I got Jeff Molina via decision. Now on to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Kama Worthy versus Jai Herbert. And honestly, this one right here is Worthy is definitely an odd fighter in a lot of ways. So can't say like I'm super high on other guys. Herbert is 0-2 in the UFC. Worthy is like 2-2 in the UFC. Worthy's very, very chinny, but he's also very always primed to pull upset or just stop the party if you pick against him. So I don't know. I just don't like picking fights with Worthy, but he on the card, so I gotta pick against him. I mean, I'm not picking against him, but I gotta pick this fight, but I'm not just predicting against him just because I don't like him or whatnot. And I'm not saying I don't dislike him. As a matter of fact, I just think my honest opinion came out. I don't like the guy, but nothing personal. I just don't like I just don't like his style. I don't like his track record. I don't like his chin. I don't like a lot of things about this guy. Personality kind of weird, but either way, Worthy versus Herbert. Two long guys. I feel like Herbert is the more technical striker, and I think the style that they're going to fight favors Herbert. Because it's not like Worthy is necessarily a guy that looks to crowd their space. He looks to try to snipe. Herbert looks to try to snipe, both long. I think Herbert's more technical. I think he's sharper with his punches, sharper with his kicks. Matter of fact, both of these guys chinny, to be honest, so they really kind of mirror each other in the way. I just feel like Herbert's faster, sharper, and he's the better sniper. And I feel like he'll be able to land those flusher shots on Worthy's glass chin. I think he finds it in the second round with a clean read over top, drops Worthy, and finishes him off in that second round. So in this fight, I got Jai Herbert via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the middleweight division, Laureano Staropoli versus Jamie Pickett. And how I see this one right here is, I feel like Jamie Pickett has a pretty good skill set. He has a pretty good frame, but I just don't think he has that it factor, and he kind of folds to pressure. You start to pressure him, put him on the back foot, he'll allow you to do that. At times, for a moment, he'll have check hooks, he'll have little teep kicks that he'll walk you into, but eventually, the constant pressure just starts to break him down. And that's just how it is until proven otherwise. And I feel like Laureano Staropoli is going to bring that pressure to him, I feel. I don't feel like Pickett's going to have any other records, like he's going to be able to take it to the ground. He might attempt it, might have some little bit of success with his takedowns and grappling, like very limited success. But ultimately, the forward pressure of Staropoli is going to break him down regardless. Like he get a takedown, maybe get a minute, maybe even get 2 minutes. But the fact that Staropoli is going to get back up, constantly keep pressuring him, constantly keep tagging him, constantly have him on the back foot, he's going to start to fold. And I don't think it's necessarily going to be a stoppage from Staropoli. He is really a welterweight. And I think Pickett at one point did. I don't think Pickett, I believe, has always been a middleweight. He might have fought a light heavyweight. He couldn't fight at light heavyweight. But for the most part, I think Pickett has been a middleweight. But I definitely think there's a decent size advantage. And I don't think Staropoli necessarily is such a heavy hitter. So I'm going to say this will be a decision where in case the pressure is going to fold, Pickett to have him on the back foot is constantly getting volume put on him by Staropoli. And Staropoli is going to win a decision victory over Pickett. So in this fight, I have Laureano Staropoli via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, Tabitha Ricci versus Maria Oliveira. And how I see this fight between Tabitha Ricci versus Maria Oliveira is not high on either woman. Let's just be honest. I'm not high on either woman. I'm not saying either of these women doing anything of note in the division. Like they might pick up some wins, struggle to pick up some wins, but Tabitha Ricci is too small. She probably should be fighting at atomweight, but there's no atomweight division in UFC. Maria Oliveira got a good size for the weight class, but she looks very basic with everything that she got. She got a decent frame, but her striking is nothing to write home about. Grappling definitely look like one of her weaker areas. And I feel like Tabitha Ricci could take advantage of that weak area. So I feel like on the feet, Oliveira is not really presenting any much of a threat. She definitely has a threat where she could put up some volume and stuff on you and grind out a decision over you. But it's not a real big threat. Like if I'm on the feet with her too long, I'm gonna get knocked out, or she hits so hard. It's like, yeah, she got some striking, but not like pretty low level striking, low level power, low level this, low level this, low level IQ. It's like she just there, to be honest. And I feel like Tabitha Ricci is gonna at least have the element where she is decent at, and which is her grappling. That's where Oliveira is weak at. And I feel like Tabitha Ricci is gonna take her to the ground, mix up, try to get in on the inside. Maybe struggle a little bit to get to the ground early, but eventually be able to get her to the ground, control her, and work on her. And then I think she taps her late, like in third round. I think it's a case of rinse, repeat, take her down, grind her out, fatigue her, pepper her up. Then that third round, finally be able to find that submission. So in this fight, I have Tabitha Ricci via third round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Mason Jones versus David Onama. And how I see this fight between Jones versus Onama is, I think Onama actually presents a pretty good threat, and is definitely a better opponent than who he was originally supposed to fight. Well, who Mason Jones was originally supposed to fight, in my opinion, at least stylistically. Maybe it'll be a case of his previous opponent would have beaten Onama. Maybe. I'm not going to say that. Well, very, very slim chance he probably would have beat Onama. The guy that Jason Jones was already supposed to fight had already really beat, but they allow him to get a pat. Well, yeah, I'm already remember the name, Alan Patrick. He already really beat Alan Patrick. That was easy money then. Would have been super easy money now, but yeah, it didn't happen because he punked out by saying he got poked in the eye. But either way, that would have been an easy opponent for Mason Jones. But this is definitely a step up in competition. Maybe not as far as historic, like, because Alan Patrick had UFC wins, but when you really look at the skills and what the person's bringing, Onama I just see like a much bigger threat than Alan Patrick. He has some real. He's a very, like I said, still a prospect and whatnot. But from what I'm saying, I'm liking a whole lot from him. I actually think he got the sharper hands than Jones, but Jones got that experience. Jones got a pace on him. Jones got for much better competition. But I like the eyes on Onama. I like the power from Onama. I like the footwork from Onama. I like the speed. I like the combination from Onama. Like, he just got good read, see the eye. I mean, see the shots coming, slip them, come at you, and then like be a chain, like, chain moving combination. That's a very high level skill. Be able to on the move, chain slit combinations together, and keep your feet in on balance with your like forward, like be on balance and throwing the combination on the move. That's very high level stuff, and I like see Onama do that. And I really can't see guys at high levels of like boxing and MMA and kickboxing do. That's a very solid skill to already have so early on in your career. So Onama definitely got to watch out for, especially if he works on that grappling a little bit. And I feel like that's where he's gonna get taken advantage of it by Jones. I think the pace is what Jones is gonna take advantage of. The pressure, the cardio. I'm not saying Onama got bad cardio, but Jones got insane cardio, got insane chin. And he's gonna look to mix it up, take him down, grind on him. Sounds kind of questionable, but take him down and wear on him, and like probably take him late and maybe look for the finish there. But yeah, take him late, finish him like in the third round via like a submission, I think. So I think it'll be a case where he's definitely gonna mix it up when on the feet, but also gonna mix it up to the ground and try to, sap the energy out of him, put a pace on him that he can't keep up with, then look to tap him out in the third round. I think that's what happens. So in this fight, I have Mason Jones via third round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in our prelim headliner in the middleweight division, Jun Young Park versus Gregory Rodrigues. And how I see this fight right here is Park had looked very solid in his last fight, and Rodrigues looked very solid in his last fight. Park had come off of that win over Tafon Nchukwi, but you also got to factor that maybe Tafon Nchukwi was a little bit green behind the ears. Like, he only had, 5, 6, 7 pro fights. Some, like, I was about to say Taekwondo fights. Some, kickboxing, Muay Thai fights. Matter of fact, I think he had more Muay Thai than kickboxing. I think he had a little bit of both, but either way. A little bit green behind the ears in Tafon Nchukwi, and drained himself to make the weight. But no excuses. He beat Tafon Nchukwi in a pretty clear and dominant fashion, especially in that third round. First round, 2 rounds pretty close. Third round, no doubt. Probably should have been a 10-8 round if they didn't score the 10-8 round. But either way, Jun Young Park coming in. When I see Jun Young Park, I say guy mostly favors boxing, a boxer wrestler. Jiu-jitsu could use some work, but a boxer wrestler. Gregory Rodrigues is more like a kickboxer with some Muay Thai. I'm gonna say kickboxing, a blend of kickboxing and Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu practitioner. I feel like Park has shown questionable jiu-jitsu, at least in the Hernandez fight. Look very questionable on the ground in the Hernandez fight. So I feel in this one, I'm gonna lean to Gregory Rodrigues to get his hand raised this one. I feel like he'll be bigger. I feel like he'll be longer. I worry about his chin. I worry about the boxing in Park being able to find those openings and those avenues to Rodrigues' chin. Like I said, I worry about the durability of his chin. I worry that he can be stiff, but he looked more fluid in his last fight against Dusko Todorovic. Like, it feel like he he heard every little thing people had to say about him, and he went in there and worked on it. Maybe his coach has been telling him about it. Maybe he just know. I mean, it's not hard to see where his weaknesses were prior to that fight. And I feel like he's still kind of stiff, but worked heavily on it to not be as stiff. That man was stiff as a board in the what's his name, the Jordan Williams fight. He was stiff as a board, not just because he got knocked out stiff, but with, like, the whole time he moving, he did not move his head once. And even his prior fights to that did not move his head once. His head would literally just be there at all times in the same exact spot. Like, he'll just move. Even when he's walking, his head just stays in the same exact spot. Like, that's crazy. Like, no bounce, like, head. Like, he's got his back tight, so tight that he can't move his head at all or move his upper body. But like, he worked on some more like he saw attempts to move that head, and he didn't get really caught too clean against Dusko Todorovic, and has really picked apart Dusko Todorovic in every single facet of the game. So, and I feel like Rodrigues, like I said, going to use more tools. I feel like Parker favored his hands too much and looking for the wrestling. And then the wrestling not going to be as big of an avenue for him in some of these other fights. Like, he fought Tafon Nchukwi, like I said, green behind the ears. He fought, what's his name, that British dude who has negative grappling. So, but when you go against Gregory Rodrigues, that's a real high-level BJJ practitioner. So Park not really going to want to go to the ground with him too much. And Rodrigues is good off his back, good off top. So Park really going to want to avoid that, really try to look to box in this one. If he does, he might get choked out going for a takedown. And I feel like it's going to be the case. He's going to get choked out when he's trying to mix it to the ground after I'm not gonna say initially, but I feel like after the fight goes on, I thought Rodrigues starts to dig into his body with those heavy kicks, dig into his legs, catch him with some power. And yes, Park got a chin on him, but sometimes he relies on it too much. And I feel like Rodrigues is gonna be to hurt him up top, hurt him to the body, and hurt him to the leg, and have Park, lean into his wrestling to try to, catch a breather. Then when he tries to catch a breather, Rodrigues gonna catch a neck and tap him out. I'm saying around third round. So in this fight, I got Gregory Rodrigues via third round submission. Now onto our main card. So in our first fight on the main card, we have in the light heavyweight division, Nick Negumereanu versus Ike Villanueva. And how I see the fight between Negumereanu versus Ike Villanueva is very, very low confident pick. Nick Negumereanu is younger, only has one loss. He took that time off, I don't know, to get better. And I feel like he did get better. At least he got, I don't know, he got a bit, it's still a lot to be seen. He came in that fight, I feel like he was really losing that fight. He just had more dog than the opponent he fought in his last fight. But I don't feel like his skills have shown like he got so much better or anything. But hey, he came in the UFC, lost, took like 3-4 years off, came back and got a win. So some improvement there, at least on paper. But Nick Negumereanu versus Ike Villanueva, why it's a low confident pick is, like I said, Negumereanu a lot younger, a lot bigger, I would think a lot stronger. Villanueva has a lot more experience, a little bit undersized. Probably should be a middleweight, maybe even a welterweight, to be honest. Probably could cut down to welterweight and put on muscle. Because right now he's just a fat guy with skinny arms at light heavyweight. He probably could at least go down middleweight and be a skinny, slim guy, or maybe go down to welterweight, or maybe go down middleweight, put some muscle on welterweight. But he's not gonna do that at this point. The man is who he is. I think everybody, including himself, know that he ain't gonna do nothing. He's not gonna make no waves in the division or the sport. So he like, I want to look like this couch potato. I want to look like this father of four that just works his 9 to 5 and whatnot. That's what he want to look like. So either way, it is what it is. It's a toss-up fight in a way because Negumereanu showed in his last fight that he will stand there in the bank. And when you stand there and bang with Ike Villanueva, you give him an opportunity. That opportunity allows him opportunity to knock you out. I feel like Negumereanu does that opportunity. He does have the ability to mix it up, but will he is the question. I think he will look to mix it up, or at least I will say that I'm gonna put that in the backdrop. I'll put that in the back that if the fight does get too sloppy or too dangerous, I think he will mix it up. But either way, I think it'll be a case where sloppy fight. But whether Negumereanu chooses to mix it up and take it to the ground if he gets hurt, or if it's getting too rough for him out there and ground out of this like a TKO stoppage like in the second round, or whether he just catches them in a slugfest and knocks Ike Villanueva out, I'm predicting Nick Negumereanu will be a second round TKO. That's what it's going to be. So sloppy fight, but Nick Negumereanu finds a TKO one way or the other, whether it be on the ground or on the feet in the second round. So in this fight, I got Nick Negumereanu via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, the White Grant versus Francisco Trinaldo. And how's this fight between Grant versus Trinaldo? I don't know why I even said that like that. But yeah, sorry about that. But the White Grant versus Francisco Trinaldo. How I see this one going is one thing people act like Trinaldo. In fact, Trinaldo is old. I'm not even acting like he's not old, but the White Grant ain't all that young either. 37 versus 43. Well, I guess that is a big number of years. We're like 6-year difference. So he a lot younger, but he still old himself. So 37 versus 43. The White Grant, they also say Trinaldo don't throw the most combinations or the most volume out there, but neither does Grant. Grant look for a lot of these wide looping, weird scarecrow, weird gargle shots. Like these big wide shots. But he got a lot of power. Awkward, but a lot of power. Weird angle shots. Now he's going against Trinaldo, who also don't throw too many shots. And like Trinaldo really looks to control the pace of the fight and land, clean flush shots. And he's not really got us to go out there and throw these combinations, especially at 43. He's not out there going to throw combinations. He's going to throw some power, but he's not going to throw combinations. But between the two, I feel like Trinaldo should have the speed advantage even at 43, especially fighting at lightweight for all those times. And also for the fact that Grant wings so much. I feel like Trinaldo's shorter shots should be able to find the target. Yes, the White Grant will be longer and taller and younger by 6 years, but also old himself. But yeah, all that being said, I just feel like Trinaldo will be the cleaner, more polished fighter. And I feel like he'll be the one to at least have the avenue to take somewhere else. I don't feel like the White Grant's grappling is all that rateable. And I feel like, they talking about output. He didn't have the greatest output against the last person was Stefan Sekulic, who is that guy. He didn't really have the greatest output against him, and just barely won via split decision. So I feel like he gonna just be looking for that couple big shots, looking to use that length and looking to land power. And Trinaldo's gonna be able to avoid a lot of those big shots, land his own combination, probably batter the leg of Grant, and then probably score 1 or 2 takedowns. That's gonna, seal a close round here and there. Maybe a couple close rounds, and maybe Grant wins one, but in 2 of the close rounds, Trinaldo gets a takedown. Or maybe in 1 of those close rounds, Trinaldo gets a takedown. And it's a very, very close fight, very low confidence. Like I said, you got a 43-year-old Trinaldo outside his weight class. He's not having the same usual lightweight size advantage he'll have, but he does have a skill advantage, experience advantage, and not giving up as much age as he would usually give in these fights. So I'm giving Trinaldo a decision in a very close fight, probably off a takedown in at least 1 or 2 of those rounds to eke out a decision over Grant. So in this fight, I have Francisco Trinaldo via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, Alex Caceres versus Seungwoo Choi. And how I see this fight between Caceres versus Choi is I think Caceres hasn't been fighting necessarily the competition, the level of Seungwoo Choi, or at least the competition level that Seungwoo Choi has risen to. Maybe a couple years ago, like you said, who is Seungwoo Choi? Well, he did fight Movsar Evelev. No, I'm thinking about some other guy. But either way, matter of fact, he did fight Movsar Evelev, I think twice. But either way, the guy Seungwoo Choi is up today, I just feel like is a bad stylistic matchup for Alex Caceres. Alex Caceres has in the past lost to guys, that have definitely some striking advantage or power advantage over him. Have solid enough takedown defense that Caceres can't take him to the ground. And I think in a couple of these cases, he got knocked out. And I feel like Choi is packing more power than any of those guys that have knocked out Caceres in the past. I feel like he should be a stuff that could take down offense from Caceres. And it's not like Caceres has the greatest takedown offense either. He's an awkward guy. He's an interesting guy. Talented in his own way, but I just don't see him really having success getting to the ground, and I don't feel like he'll have too much success on the feet. He'll be interesting, may give some interesting looks for Choi, and Choi will have to adapt to them. But once he, gets a read up for what Caceres is doing, I feel like he'll be able to find a chin and just find Caceres, be to hurt him, whether it be to the body or to the chin. I definitely think he'll be able to tag him up top, find that chin, and I think he'll put him out in the second round. So like first round probably be interesting, but still probably be a Choi round. Like Caceres probably doing a lot of awkward knee punch and stuff, come over the top, trying to be Bruce Leroy, doing some weird kicks and stuff. Like I said, make it interesting, probably attempt to try to clinch up. But Choi being able to find the range and establish that and not allow, get caught up in Caceres' awkward style. We start landing the flusher shots, win the first round, and then the second round, be able to put him out. So in this fight, I have Seungwoo Choi via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's bantamweight division, Jessica Rose Clark versus Jocelyn Edwards. And how I see this one right here is I'm leaning to Jocelyn Edwards. I see some people saying, "Oh, Rose Clark is this, she this, that," but her wrestling did not look all that great. She let's be honest, she actually struggled with Sarah Alpar, who we already saw. Matter of fact, I saw before she even entered the UFC. I was not impressed with her. I just saw her as a mediocre. No, matter of fact, a little bit of disrespect. Alpar, I know she trained hard and does with all this stuff, and she got some good causes she works for, but to be honest, she's a mediocre fighter. Let's be honest. You could add her, you could tweet her, you could dial her numbers and tell her this. She's a mediocre fighter. Let's be honest. She's mediocre. Sarah Alpar is mediocre, and Jessica Clark struggled with her. I think she kind of gave up the first round to her. Then eventually, with her veteran experience, she was able to kind of struggle, defend some takedowns, land some shots on her, and start to hurt Alpar. And then she started to get the advantage of Alpar in the grappling. But early on, she was struggling a lot. I don't know what I'm trying to say. My voice all getting like, when I'm watching the Emperor's New Groove. But either way, she started to struggle. I mean, she was struggling with her until she started to really get off with her striking in that Muay Thai clinch. And then she started to get the better of Alpar. But prior to that, she was struggling with Alpar. So I don't really like that. I don't feel like Rose Clark is all that strong. I'm not saying that as a insult or something like that's all the end all be all, but I feel like Jocelyn Edwards is a much better fighter than Sarah Alpar. I feel like she'll be the longer, stronger fighter. Probably, matter of fact, I think she's longer, stronger, better striker than Rose Clark. I think she'll be the pick apart Rose Clark from distance. Then on the inside, Rose Clark might try to lash over her, but I feel like Rose, even though she might have a technical advantage over her in the wrestling and some of the grappling to an extent. Matter of fact, I think jiu-jitsu-wise, Edwards is the better grappler. Wrestling-wise, Clark does have a smidgen of a wrestling advantage, but I feel like the strength and size in the frame of Clark of Edwards will allow her to just bully Clark when Clark tries to wrestle her or try to clinch with her or try to hold her against the cage, be that veteran and try to lean on her and try to touch her up. Like she'll just get bulldozed right off her feet, and Edward was bully her on the ground. I don't think it's gonna be like no super tight fight. I think it'll be competitive. I feel like Clark will have her moments, but ultimately anyone with clear eyes will see that Jocelyn Edwards is tagging her up from distance, and then when they latch up and Clark try to lean her, I feel like Edwards with his hip toss on the ground, probably control that top position and ground out a decision over Clark. So in this fight, I have Jocelyn Edwards via decision. Now to our co-main event, we have in the lightweight division, Grant Dawson versus Rick Glenn. So how I see this fight right here is I feel like a lot of people are super high on Grant Dawson, and I'm still gonna be high on him too, but I can't be like lock. A lot of people like saying, "Oh, this is a lock, this is a lock, this is a lock," and it probably will be a lock. And I'm picking him to win, but I'm gonna say high, not a lock, because I feel like he struggled in his last fight with Jose Aldo's BJJ coach, and I'm forgetting, like these names do elude me at times. I know exactly who he is. I know his face. I know his mom. I know his dad. I know his best friend and whatnot. But names kind of do elude me a lot of times. And I ain't gonna. It's not too deep that I gotta look them up. Like y'all can look them up. But Jose Aldo's training coach, longtime friend, probably his best friend. But yeah, probably his best friend and whatnot. But he kind of struggled with him. Like when I look at the fight match later on, it looked like Grant Dawson was in full control the whole time. Like he had never had any struggle. Well, when you actually watch the fight, I watched the actual fight. Then later on, I watched the fight metric. When I'm going back and looking to predict this fight instead of actually going back and watch the fight. But I know what my eyes saw. I saw Grant Dawson struggling. I saw him like struggling to get a takedown. I saw him getting picked apart on the feet. Saw him getting out grapple. He was on top, and then just finding that lucky shot with the what like a 10 seconds or like 5 seconds left in the fight, finding a lucky shot and knocking out his opponent. So that's what I saw. So I think that's what the case is. He kind of struggled with him. And Grant Dawson only got no super rateable striking. So I feel like Rick Glenn could find a shot on him and potentially put him out. I feel like Rick Glenn has, solid enough grappling defense that he might be able to keep him on the feet and be able to touch Dawson up or threaten with some submissions and, make Dawson have a hard fight. But ultimately, Rick Glenn does have decent takedown offense, but I think Grant Dawson's pressure and pace will eventually start to allow him to secure those takedowns. I just think he'll be too heavy on top and be the hold Glenn down. I still think this is a very tough matchup for Dawson. I don't see this as a walk in the park. This is going to be a very, very, very tough matchup for him. Very scary at a lot of points for him. But he'll be able to find what's it called? The word sanctuary or whatnot. Be able to find peace in the takedowns, safe area with the takedowns and control them. Like once you be able to take him down and look to latch him up, maybe seat belt that lower leg and anchor or whatever term you want to call for that, where you get like that not side control, but you get that half guard and you could just lock one, like you sit down on that leg, that old school Randy Couture style, where you could just really seat belt somebody there and hold them for a lot of time, and, make it hard for them to get up, like take out that window when they can explode back up when you initially take them down. It'd be to grind out a decision over Glenn, but I definitely think at moments Glenn will be able to land flush shots on Dawson that's going to have him questioning his career path, career life choices, but ultimately I think he'll be able to find those takedowns. I'm not going to say with a great success rate, but decent enough success rate that he'll be able to take him down and get large portions of control time when the fight does get ugly, or even before the fight gets ugly. But I think this fight will get ugly at times, but Dawson will be able to find solitude in those takedowns, in those control time, and be able to grind out a decision over Glenn. So in this fight, I have Grant Dawson via decision. Now to our main event, we have in the middleweight division, Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori. And this video is just a compilation of tongue-tiedness. But yeah, Costa versus Vettori. I'm gonna be honest, at first I was leaning into Costa, but hearing that this man is 212, 220, which might help him in a way, or might be a game plan, might be a dirty tactic by him to be bigger so he can have more success in the grappling area, or at least limit Vettori's success in grappling, or make Vettori tire himself out trying to move his fat self around. But either way, it is not a good look. The fact that he even had to do that is not a good look. Whether he's doing that intentionally, or the fact that he just ate so much, or that he lifts so much weights, or whatever he did in camp that he like what, a couple days out, and I ain't saying he can't make weight. So it's just not a good look. And let's be honest, like I was leading some factors for Costa. I'm not even going to go into depth on those. I'm just going to say to the point why I'm going to not picking him. So he already overweight. His cardio in the past has been questionable. It's not like it's been like he's passed the test. Like, he fought he did 15 minutes with Romero, but it's not like Romero necessarily fights at such a high pace, especially is a late, and then when the Romero that has fought Costa, it's all about limit and explosion, limit and explosion. Like this, conserving that little bit of energy he does have, and exploding at a moment. So it's not like he fought like a high paced fight with a guy that's going to be in his face, working the whole time, throwing shots the whole time. He fought a guy that's going to lay back and let you punch on him, then at times explode on you. So not the same thing. So he come in with a young fighter like himself, actually Vettori a little bit younger. Guy's gonna put a pace on him. A guy that's gonna look to mix it up with him, like want to take it to the ground, and not just be looking to strike with him. So he's gonna, and also not just look for 1 or 2 or 3 takedowns the whole fight. Might be to go for 10 or 15. I'm gonna say 10. 15 kind of a stretch, but I say he could definitely go for 10. So he'll go for 10 takedowns. Probably throw like 100 strikes if it goes all five rounds. And I think it's going to be a case where Vettori's going to ground out a decision over Costa. Like, he's going to come in with that size. It's going to be an issue early on. But once he starts getting tired and he's not able to find that finish like he wants to, that size is going to become a disadvantage for Costa. It's going to just be more weight for him to carry. His cardio issue is going to resurface. And the pace and the variety of Vettori, like I said, looking for those takedowns, I'll start to wear on him, especially when Vettori scored takedowns on Costa and start to lay on Costa. Costa gonna have to feel Vettori's weight and his own weight on his own chest, his own heart, make his heart beat faster, be breathing heavy. And Vettori honestly might get a finish over Costa, but I'm gonna say decision. It's gonna be a case where he's just gonna get a decision over Costa, be ground him out. Probably might score a takedown in the first or 2 rounds. I'm gonna say definitely in the first 2 rounds a takedown. Maybe not like every single round from initially, just take him down initially and just be working from the beginning. But at least try to wear on him, work for the takedown. Maybe not secure it in the first round, but definitely by the second round, score a takedown. Then from there, start to find more success with his takedowns, start to land his shots. Then you start to have a tired Costa, probably entering the third, missing shots big, and then just have his mouth open, and this Vettori just tagging him up and scoring takedowns, controlling him against the clinch, and then drag him to the ground and grind out a decision over Costa in this one. So in this fight, I have Marvin Vettori via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the 4 Carter fights for UFC Fight Night, Costa versus Vettori. And as always, thanks for watching.